northern Iraq.
If the United States uses its power, it will be safe for the people.
But another said, no way will they leave.
They prefer to die here better than going back to Iraq by force.
U.S. soldiers are digging in. Almost overnight, they set up a cargo depot at a Turkish air base. C-130s out with food, giant C-5s in with gear. Today, Marine helicopters evacuated 65 Kurds from the mountaintop. The very ill, pregnant women. Kurds who have told one another for decades that they have no friends had never met helicopter crewman Pat Del Cambre from Lake Charles.
How's my big girl doing? You okay? Give me a high five. All right. Give me a high five. We always say it's business, it's business, it's business, and a lot of guys saying, hey, it's getting a lot personal.
Now the U.S. and its allies must coax the 500,000 Kurds suffering on the mountaintop to return to Iraq. Pentagon spokesman Pete Williams said the goal is to get the camp up and running, then turn them over to the Kurds themselves.
Number one, it is strictly a humanitarian operation. And number two, it's a temporary operation.
The Kurdish fighters interpret the resettlement as a green light to launch a new attack on Saddam Hussein.
We will continue our fighting. So we want from coalition troops to support us politically and also militarily.
If the Kurds battle Saddam, and if he's provoked to respond, the U.S. and allied soldiers may find they've chosen sides in a civil war inside Iraq. By the hour, the U.S. military is building a new home here in southeast Turkey. Operation Provide Comfort is getting bigger, and when it goes into Iraq, it'll be getting riskier. Dennis Murphy, NBC News, Diyarbakir, Turkey.
As for those Kurdish refugees, they welcome the new U.S. policy, but they're in such despair tonight, they can't live on promises alone. NBC's Mike Betcher now.
There is a grim joke among the refugees, which observes that the only way to leave this camp is to die. The Turks certainly were making sure it was understood that the refugees could move in only one direction, back to Iraq. A fence to keep the Iraqi Kurds out of Turkish territory would be completed soon. But only torrents of muddy rainwater rushed down the hill towards Iraq today. Nobody else did. They wanted to know more about these camps that the Americans were building inside Iraq before they would leave here.
Even if the refugees felt it was safe enough to move to the new camps, many of them say they are too weak and tired to do so. Plus, the weather is still extremely bad. It rains almost every day and is still very, very cold.
More coaxing would be needed to convince the refugees to move to the new camps. Because of everything that has happened to us, I will have to see these camps to believe that they exist. Munir Sumo is a skeptic, even though he has plenty of reasons to leave this camp each day. His family still does not have a tent, and his baby boy is gravely ill. In previous attempts, Turkish troops have not allowed him to take the child past camp boundaries to a hospital staffed by volunteer French doctors. But today, with television cameras monitoring the latest attempt, permission is granted. A doctor determines that the child is suffering from acute diarrhea, malnutrition, and is hyperventilating.
There is very, very bad, and I think he's going to die.
By late today, the infant was still fighting for his life. There is another way out of here for him besides death, if only he can make it a few more days. Mike Betcher, NBC News, on the Turkish-Iraqi frontier.
NBC's John Cochran is at the White House now, where President Bush is caught between helping the refugees and the possibility of Americans getting caught in a Civil War crossfire. John, what does happen if those Kurdish guerrillas use the camps as sanctuaries?
Well, that's a good question, Tom, and one the White House can't answer yet. One official here told me, said, look, this is a real problem if these guerrillas engage in a firefight and then head to these base camps as sanctuaries with Saddam Hussein's forces in hot pursuit. Then what happens? Well, you could have bullets flying near American troops, Tom.
And what about the role of the United Nations? The president wants them to take over at some point. Has that been worked out?
It has not been worked out. Today, the UN Secretary General Perez de Cuellar said that before that can happen, both the UN Security Council and Saddam Hussein must agree. No clear indication that either are ready to agree yet.
Any deals being struck with Baghdad tonight?
Well, President Bush did toss out a carrot of sorts today. He hinted that if Saddam Hussein goes along with this plan, then President Bush just may agree to easing up a little on these economic sanctions against Iraq.
All right, thank you very much. John Cochran at the White House tonight. As the American forces head into Iraq, General Norman Schwarzkopf and his command staff are heading home. They'll return to their Tampa, Florida headquarters on Sunday. When Nightly News continues, the latest on the rail strike. And what looks like a major New York mob killing has law enforcement officials guessing. And tonight's Daily Difference, vital signs, college students on a binge. Drinking is campus enemy number one.
If you're counting calories, here's something you should know. An entire Kellogg's Special K breakfast, including cereal, fruit, skim milk, and coffee, actually has fewer calories than the leading diet shake. Fewer calories. And when you're dieting, isn't that what's important? Kellogg's Special K. Lose the fat.
Grandma cleaned her dentures with toothpaste. Mom used to soak. I use the denture cleanser of the 90s. Fast-acting denture foam. Deep cleans like tablets, fast like toothpaste. To loosen food stains so you can quickly brush dentures clean. Get new denture foam. It deep cleans fast.
Poison ivy, insect bite, lashes. Too many choices.
You only need one. Cordaid.
Stop the itch and heal the rash with a brand doctors recommend most.
Present Arms.
Cordaid, the only aid you need.
Almost no one was working on the railroad today. From coast to coast, 235,000 rail workers in 11 unions went on strike, shutting down freight operations, upsetting travel for many passengers. NBC's Robert Hager has the latest from Washington. Robert?
Tom, the strike is about money, health benefits, and work rules. And tonight, Congress seems to be nearing agreement to order workers back on the job in a few days and appoint a new emergency board with power to settle remaining differences in 40 days.
Shortly after midnight, locomotive 5801 pulls into the yards in Tampa, Florida. Its crew disappears into the dark. Dawn on the Santa Fe Railroad in California. Another crew shuts down.
It could last 6 hours. It could last 6 days.
By now, picket lines were up across the nation. The strike was on.
Well, after 3 years without a contract, we had to do something. Some action had to be taken.
Amtrak, the passenger line, was not struck, but had to halt most long-haul service.
Today's train will not be operated due to a strike against the freight railroad company over whose tracks the train operates.
The New York to New Orleans Amtrak Crescent ended its trip abruptly in Atlanta. Passengers transferred to buses. In Detroit, a stranded Amtrak passenger.
People need to move from point to point. And I think it's a tragedy that we have to be delayed.
Amtrak was able to operate in the Northeast Corridor and a few other urban areas. And the only large-scale commuter rail stoppage was between San Jose and San Francisco, where 22,000 Caltrain riders had to find another way to work. Cab drivers cleaned up.
That's a good long ride, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. How much was that?
About 40 bucks.
As rail service to the auto industry stopped, a warning from automakers. If the strike lasts much longer, massive layoffs seem certain. To avert what some warned could be economic disaster, Congress began on a back-to-work plan at 8 o'clock this morning. Transportation Secretary Sam Skinner wanted to get trains rolling by tomorrow morning.
I'd like to see legislation today. The president would like to see legislation today.
Well, it won't be that soon, but the House is expected to act tonight, the Senate tomorrow, and that could end the strike by Friday. Tom?
Thank you, Robert. A new AIDS scare tonight. Federal officials said that 3 units of tainted blood were mistakenly distributed by the Red Cross in Portland, Oregon. The initial test showed that 1 unit may have been contaminated with the AIDS virus. The other 2 with hepatitis B. However, the Food and Drug Administration said no one is known to have been infected with the AIDS virus from any of this blood. At Georgetown University in Washington today, the issue was race. An uproar over an article contending that blacks in the Georgetown Law School are less qualified than whites. NBC's Bob Kirk.
The new campus controversy here is competing with sunning and studying for students' time. It began when Timothy McGuire, a third-year law student, wrote an article for the School Weekly. In it, he condemned what he called artificial preferences for blacks in admissions, adding that in college, black achievements are far inferior to those of whites. That sparked a school-wide debate on affirmative action.
I do my homework here. I pay my tuition. I'm going to be a success when I graduate in the spring of 1992 with the rest of my class. I don't owe anyone any explanations as to why I'm here.
In his article, McGuire said he found that on the law school admissions test, with 48 being a perfect score, Whites admitted to Georgetown averaged 43, blacks 36. School officials say McGuire used confidential records to which he had access while working as a file clerk in the admissions office, and that McGuire may be punished. Student Amy Zeltzer.
And if he's led into the law profession, which is based on confidentiality, it will be a disgrace.
For his part, McGuire says he's sorry he offended anyone, but won't apologize for the facts.
If my statistics had showed, for instance, that blacks were being discriminated against, and I brought that attention to the community, I think students would be cheering me.
He clearly struck a nerve.
I think that there are a number of people here who, while they may not consider themselves racist, are threatened or question the validity of affirmative action.
This incident brings up, once again, perhaps the most emotional issue being debated on campus and in business today. Is opportunity for some made at the expense of others? Bob Kerr, NBC News, Washington.
Wall Street plainly believes that the American economy is on the rebound. It showed it today by making history. For the first time ever, the Dow Industrials closed above 3,000. Trading was very heavy today.
Full tank of gas and cold fried chicken. What more could you ask for in a road trip? Well, that's Tony O, engineer extraordinaire. That's me, Hank, ditto. And that's Bill, marketing maniac. It was 1985. We were designing a transmission for the new Saturn, but the rest of the car wasn't finished yet, so we borrowed another car and put our transmission in it. We said it would run like a dream no matter who was driving or where. Marketing said, prove it. So we drove and drove. Here we are achieving optimum shift stability with minimum torque disturbance. It's going uphill real fast with the AC blasting. Call us crazy. Regular fuel stops, sleep, 15 more road trips, and more than 6 million miles later, we had some good information and truly unique personal mementos. Our Saturn transmission came through with flying colors. Wish we could say the same for Bill. Marketing will never doubt us again.
Here we go. Now we're rolling. Time to get going. I'm gonna pack a little bag, throw in a couple things I can use. Wings or wheels or railroad steel, I just love the feel of these traveling shoes.
There's never been a better time or better travel values to go USA.
Our daily difference tonight, vital signs. The drug of choice on campuses these days is alcohol. Excessive drinking is now the single biggest problem that our college students face. It starts as partying, but it can end in tragedy. NBC's Bob Herbert.
On the night that Duke went to the NCAA basketball finals, its students in Durham, North Carolina went wild. Their celebration was fueled by enormous quantities of America's favorite drug, alcohol. The use of pot, cocaine, and hallucinogens by college students is way down, but drinking is as popular as ever. And not just ordinary drinking, binge drinking that goes beyond any reasonable limits.
What would you consider excessive drinking for you?
Probably 13 to 14 beers.
What do you like after 12 beers?
I'd like to have another beer.
College officials say students drink to relieve social anxieties and to make it easier to form relationships.
Go to a bar, and there's like all these ugly people. You get a couple drinks in you, and they're all good looking. You want sex more when you're drunk.
But fewer inhibitions can lead to trouble. Half of all campus crime, including rape, involves excessive drinking. For a lot of students, it's spring break all year round.
Classes on Friday are not widely attended.
Why is that?
That's because everybody's hungover.
The legal drinking age has been raised to 21, but 6 million underage students continue to drink illegally.
This is my real ID. This is my fake ID. I'm going to be 21 in about 3 weeks.
But now, on your fake ID, you're already...
I'm already like 29. 29.
Beneath the partying, the gaiety, and the good cheer flows a deadly undercurrent. 3 University of Tennessee students on their way to spring break last month were killed when their car smashed into a tree. All 3 were underage and had been drinking. Susan Bell, a sophomore at the University of Virginia, got drunk with her boyfriend and they fell off a railroad bridge to the tracks 25 feet below. Susan was killed. She was 19 years old.
Of the students currently in college, some 300,000 will eventually lose their lives as a result of drinking. Rutgers University in New Jersey has taken the lead in dealing with this very serious problem.
Rutgers is the only school with an inpatient program for student alcoholics. This senior recently completed the program.
The strongest thing I could say is really that it's given me a second chance at life.
Rutgers also has an on-campus residence for recovering alcoholics.
It's great for us. You know, we don't feel the pressure of all the partying and all the drugs and the alcohol.
Many colleges offer some form of help for students with alcohol problems. Boston College and Princeton now have deans working full-time on student drinking. But there is no concerted national effort comparable to the war against drugs to get kids to stop drinking. So the partying continues. Bob Herbert, NBC News, Durham, North Carolina.
Tomorrow night, crime and punishment on Daily Difference. Vietnamese versus Vietnamese in California. Violent gangs acting out a bizarre war.
I thought my husband Dan was perfectly healthy, but the doctor said his cholesterol level was 218. So we changed to a healthier diet, including no cholesterol Mazola, America's leading corn oil.
In a clinical study, a low-fat, low-cholesterol diet, including Mazola, reduced cholesterol an average of 17%.
Did Dan's cholesterol come down?
You bet. 100% pure Mazola corn oil. Together, we're beating cholesterol.
Here, Joe. Careful to break real easy.
Hey, everybody, so what's the concern?
A whole meeting about springs and struts. Those details make a difference in a smooth ride.
Neptune looks a little wobbly up there. The whole thing's wobbly.
Now, with these kind of meetings, we work better together, we build better cars. It's that simple. Everybody here is working together. Everybody has a responsibility for a final product. That's why our cars have gotten so good.
Hi, what'd you bring back?
Diarrhea.
Of course. You forgot your kaopectate.
Advanced formula kaopectate. Just one dose helps relieve diarrhea fast.
Next time, I won't forget the kaopectate.
Guaranteed to stop diarrhea fast.
Introducing the new Gripper Zipper from Ziploc, the easiest closing bag there is. I can even close it with my hands tied behind my back. Yes, the zipper is grabbing hold. It's locking. Feel it close the first time, every time. Ziploc bags with the new Gripper Zipper.
Just a reminder, here's what you'll have to give up if you use Garden Grip Lawn and Garden Tools with the comfortable foam cushion handles. Garden Grip Lawn and Garden Tools by True Temper. We make yard work easy to handle.
Here in Jupiter, a beef stir-fry takes less than 5 minutes and a steak takes less than 10. The people of Jupiter call this weightlessness. Beef, real food in Jupiter, Florida.
Law enforcement officials tonight are wondering whether they're about to have an all-out mob war among New York's 5 mafia families. The reason? A mob hit last Saturday night on a not-so-ordinary gangster. NBC's John Miller picks it up from there.
In the pouring rain, they took Bobby Borriello away. He took 7 in the head from a .380 automatic and died right there in his own driveway. In death, he made a big splash. When he was alive, he was hardly noticed. Here he comes in a white jacket. The reason he was hardly noticed was he always walked in the shadow of John Gotti, perhaps the nation's best-known gangster. Gotti is said to be the boss of the Gambino crime family, and Bobby Borriello was his one-man Secret Service. He watched the boss's back, he was the boss's wheelman, and carried the boss's gun. Now, Gotti is in jail awaiting trial for allegedly killing the old boss, Paul Castellano, in order to take over the Gambino family. So who would have the nerve to kill Gotti's man Borriello, and why? And could Gotti have ordered it himself?
Bobby Borriello was a very, very close friend of John Gotti and best man at John Gotti's son's wedding. I don't know where they're getting all this information from.
Theories in law enforcement abound. Few agree. At Borriello's wake, top members of the Gambino crime family attended, including Gotti's top captain, Jackie the Nose D'Amico. Mob watchers reason if the hit had been okayed by Gotti, the wake would have been off limits to his people. Some speculated other families could be behind the hit. Mob experts say if the hit came from another crime family, there will be more bloodshed.
From another family, the repercussions would be that there could be at least a battle, if not a war, against the people in the other family who were responsible for the execution.
Now investigators are saying the Borriello hit may involve heroin. Borriello allegedly began dealing with a Sicilian heroin ring just after John Gotti went to prison. Investigators believe he may have crossed someone in that ring just before he was killed. John Miller, NBC News, New York.
From a mob war in New York to a troubled peace in the Middle East. John Chancellor with commentary now. John.
The Pentagon says that each one of the refugee camps it plans to set up in Iraq will be food and medical centers for as many as 100,000 Kurds. That's big-time stuff. Albany, the capital of New York State, has a population of 100,000. So the United States could end up with a number of Albany's, New York, inside Iraq. These camps will put the United States, along with Britain, hip-deep in Iraq's internal affairs. The Pentagon says it's only temporary, but temporary or not, it means combat air patrols in Iraqi skies and thousands of American soldiers on Iraqi ground. This is not what the United States wanted when it went to war with the authority of the United Nations. Now, even the UN is questioning the legality of the refugee camp plan. When the United States went to war, it wanted a quick, clean win and a quick out of Iraq. It wanted Saddam Hussein in little pieces with his country intact. Now, his country is getting sliced up, but he's still in power. George Bush has been reduced to the hope that Saddam will go into exile. The president says if Saddam wants to leave Iraq for what Mr. Bush called a happy life forevermore in another country, it might be arranged. Charges might be dropped against the butcher of Baghdad. What a mess. The war Americans loved has become the peace Americans hate. I'll be away for a couple of weeks. It will be interesting to see where all this stands when I get back. Put a light in the window for me, Tom.
I'll do that, John. Thank you. In Tokyo today, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev made an impassioned appeal for foreign aid, and he has never been so blunt. Gorbachev said if the world doesn't help stop the disintegration of the Soviet economy, his country could collapse and return to dictatorship. When we come back here on Nightly News, in this country, the pot thickens. California's huge lottery jackpot gets bigger by the minute.
I'm Robert Urich, and I've learned something about dog food. Most of them are alike, because with most dry dog foods, grain is the main ingredient. Read the label, see for yourself. But Purina One is different, because it has chicken as the main ingredient. Purina One is high-quality nutrition. Just read this label. To me, there's really only two kinds of dog food. Purina One, or the rest.
Purina One, second to none.
It feels to me always like someone's banging on my knuckles with a hammer. It's really uncomfortable.
Today, it isn't aspirin, it's Advil for minor arthritis pain.
Advil just really helps with the pain. It makes it go away. The Advil caused me no upset stomach.
Over 100 million people have tried Advil for many types of pain.
That means to me it must work, and it also means it must be safe, and those are two things that I'm interested in.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Too much of a good thing is a good thing. The new, incredibly comfortable Mercury Grand Marquis. All this on the quality of a Mercury.
During a performance, I really put my no-nonsense pantyhose to the test. Changing costumes, running around backstage, dodging props. I'm always amazed that they survive all that without a run.
No nonsense. The pantyhose that lasts.
I swim, I jog. I love junk food. Sometimes even I get constipation.
When it happens to you, X-Lax pills give you a choice. Extra gentle for a little help, regular for a little more. X-Lax, for regular people who sometimes aren't.
It's a nice round number, $120 million and counting. That's the jackpot in tonight's California lottery. A record amount for this country and just about enough to buy a nice home in Beverly Hills. might expect, a few folks are trying to get in on the action. NBC's Don Oliver tonight.
Every minute, more than 110,000 lottery tickets are spewing out of machines across California.
Crazy. Absolutely insane.
At one store near the Nevada border, hundreds waited in line, some as long as 6 hours. Quite possibly because this store has a history of producing winners. The owner said there were 250 in line when the lottery machine shut down at 11 last night.
About 40 people stayed right exactly where they were in line when I came here.
Spent the night here.
Spent the night in the store.
All you need is one.
Why this mania? A psychologist thinks he has the answer.
People's fantasies start running wild. I mean, it's almost like a psychological balloon that gets inflated and it gets larger and larger and larger.
The chances of winning this lottery with one ticket are about as great as being attacked by a shark. And the odds are twice as great that you'll be hit by a falling airplane. The odds, 1 in 23 million.
I just received a phone call today from a man that wanted to buy $23 million worth of lottery tickets. I told him to go about and spend $10 on Quick Pick.
Mathematicians say the odds are only 1 in 100 that no one will win tonight.
With the level of sales, one would expect on the order of about 5 winners. That is, you should expect multiple winners.
$120 million to be divided among the very lucky few. For the rest, the fantasies will have to be put on hold until the next big jackpot. Don Oliver, NBC News, Los Angeles.
You'd be a double loser if you lost the lottery and then went for a swim and got attacked by a shark. That's Nightly News for this Wednesday night. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah, only 2 of them.
I know what you guys are going to be doing for a few more hours, Jeff.
It's Quantum Leap Wednesday. He's a bounty hunter.
This is a very dangerous woman.
Who's in over his head.
When I come near again, she's going to kill me.
But she's going to make him a prisoner of love.
You're falling for her sex?
Take the leap and experience the most passionate, romantic, all-new Quantum Leap on NBC tonight.
I'm Brian Gumble. Tomorrow morning on Today, we'll take a look at the president's new education plan.
I'm Catherine Couric. Also a cinematic view of organized crime with the new movie, Mobsters.
Tomorrow morning on Today.
I'm Pete Schulberg.
And I'm Ann Jagger, in for Kathy Smith, who has the night off. Our top story tonight, some serious concerns cloud the safety of the Red Cross blood supply here in Portland. How can you be sure you're protected?
And it's the first full day of a nationwide rail strike, and the local impact is just starting.
From KGW-TV Channel 8 Portland, this is News 8 at 6.
Good evening. Whose side do you believe tonight? There's a storm of controversy surrounding an FDA report released today, and it calls into serious question the safety screening procedures at the Portland Red Cross Blood Bank.
But tonight, Red Cross admits it made mistakes and says somebody is blowing the story out of proportion. Rosie Fiala has been covering the conflict all day. She joins us from the Red Cross headquarters in Portland. Rosie?